Goodness me, that's pretty. This bracelet is absolutely stunning. I bought it and I don't regret it at all, but it would be quite difficult to sell if I had to, if push came to shove. Whereas these sovereigns are just super easy to sell. They always have been and they always will be. So what's best? Even if something is a fantastic price like this bracelet, is it still worth considering buying? Or should we just stick to something a little bit more basic, like our big bullion bars? Today, we're going to talk about liquidity of your precious metals. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and welcome to my very sunny backyard. We're actually in the backyard talking about bullion, talk about branding, right? But we are talking most specifically about liquidity of your gold and silver today, and why I think it's super important to have pretty liquid gold and silver, quite frankly. But if you are going to have other bits that are perhaps illiquid, like some old bits of jewelry or collectibles like poured silver, then have a good think about the preparation for exiting if you need to at some point. Now, for some people, that might never be a situation you would ever envisage. You would just hold it and hand it down to future generations. Other people would perhaps just be more comfortable knowing that if they needed to, they could sell their silver or their gold very quickly for a pretty decent price. And you can't go far wrong with big lumps of bullion like a big bar of silver or beautiful gold sovereigns. So I'd love to know what you think down in the comment section. I know there's going to be a very split opinion on this. There are a lot of people who will never consider selling any of their silver and gold, but I think it is very responsible to think about this before you get into something, especially if you're going into something that's a little bit out of left field, like this absolutely stunning bracelet that I bought here. It's absolutely incredible, but it's certainly not something to be entered into lightly if you were perhaps buying this brand new, but I bought it secondhand, so price-wise, I'm very comfortable with it. Liquidity-wise, though, it's less flexible than other things. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, then hit subscribe. We do fun, thought-provoking content like this every week, and coin reviews as well. I just want to do a quick shout out to our channel sponsor, the Germania Mint, who very literally just arrived this morning, have sent me one of their latest rune bars to showcase. We'll have a look at that as we go throughout the video, but a huge thank you to them for sponsoring our channel. And in fact, we'll start on that kind of thing. So places like the Germania Mint do very, very cool pieces and lovely bits of silver, but it is a premium product at the end of the day, and that does come with illiquid issues that you need to factor in. So if you are a big fan of places like the Germania Mint and others that create those premium products, those premium kind of coins, then always go into it with a pinch of salt, knowing that you might have issues if you needed to sell them quickly. If you take them down to a dealer, you're not going to get a very good price for these kind of products. But collectors markets, that's where you're gonna sing. Now, for me, one of the things I've always thought about in the whole history of my purchasing of gold and silver was around the liquidity. Now, I also thought about how much money I want to make on things, and that's why I got started with silver in the first place and bought a bunch of silver coins, hoping and praying somewhat that silver would go up in value more than maybe gold would. And also, for me, it felt like I had more liquidity in that, well, at the time, holding this kilo bar is probably not a good example, but I had loads of individual different silver coins, and I thought, well, if I just need to sell a couple of them, that's fine. I'll sell a couple of them, and I don't have to, you know, if I put all of that money, this equivalent money, into gold, I'd have maybe like 3 or 4 sovereigns, and then if I'm selling one thing from that, then I've had to sell a third of my investment, for example. So that's why I decided silver in that first instance. But liquidity was always on my mind about how I would actually exit from it. And when I got started, I just thought, well, I'll hold it and I'll sell it to a dealer at some point. And then I started a YouTube channel, and the rest is kind of history. It's just kind of evolved from there. But across this lifespan of doing things on YouTube, I've evolved my way of thinking. And certainly from a liquidity perspective, I've always found, unfortunately, our favourite thing here, silver, outweighed massively by gold every single time. And that liquidity for gold has always trumped it for me for silver comparisons. The other thing that I always think about, though, is price. You know, if you are ultimately buying something like a silver bar at a cheap price and then you're selling it at a high price down the line, then that liquidity is less impactful for me, because of course I've got my investment guru head on and I want to make money on these kind of things, for example. So if you can buy premium products cheap and sell them high, then you are in a good position, and that's of course what a lot of dealers will do. If you take something handmade, I'd love to tell you, by the way, who made this, but I cannot remember for the life of me, and there's no little marks on it, which is very annoying. I can tell you this is a little hammer here, or axe hammer, was made by A.G. Mack back in the day. Beautiful piece. But the point here is, if I took these to dealers right now, I'd get, if I'm lucky, spot price. If I'm very unlucky, about 90% of spot price, even less sometimes. Some of the big pawn shops and dealers will give you a lot less. And then they'll turn around and try and flip it as a collectible, as a premium, because they don't have the liquidity problems. They don't mind locking up their money into these products for a long period of time and then selling them slowly over that period of time. And we can't begrudge them for that. They're businesses at the end of the day, and they're not offering a public service by taking all of your silver and gold and selling it, but they're there to make money. And I think that's really important to remember. So if you want to do something like that, then you've got to put in the work to actually have that liquidity, which is what I've been working to this entire time. But again, we come back to price, and this is where I'm now going to talk about this absolutely beautiful shiny bracelet here. So, scrap. Is scrap something that is worth buying? Well, here's an example. In fact, no, look, let's get the bracelet out first. So here's an example of something that I bought for pretty close to scrap price. I will say there was a small premium on top of this over its gold price, and also it's very difficult to know exactly how much gold is in this particular bracelet. But generally speaking, bought from a trusted member on the Silver Forum, which you need to go and check out. The name, I think, is Gold Beam. If I'm wrong on that, I'll put a little flash up on the screen right now. But I'll link his profile down in the description box below to the Silver Forum. He has had some incredible pieces of X jewellery, and it is wonderful to see. And I hope the camera's focusing on this somehow, because it's so bloody sunny out here, I can't see through my viewfinder what's being focused on. Now, it's hard to know exactly how much gold content is in here, but I am pretty confident that the person that sold it to me had done a very accurate pricing of this. And whilst I have paid probably a little bit over spot price for it, I'm still very happy with it. Now, liquidity-wise, that's the topic of today's video. We come back to this. If I was to try and sell this right now, not knowing exactly how much gold is in it, it would be very difficult. I would have to somewhat prove that it's gold as well, and the seller had it taken to a jewellery shop where they had an XRF machine, and it was definitely coming up as gold. It came up as 14 karat gold. There's no UK hallmarks on this though. It's just marked 14K on the back here. And it came up as that, which is good enough for me. But I'm in this luxurious position where I have the ability to vouch for this kind of thing and sell it as that. But I really would not be comfortable having that as something very liquid. The fact that it's extremely beautiful is secondary, in my opinion, to that liquidity. But the beauty of it cannot be ignored. I've been bitten by a horsefly as we speak out in the backyard. Goodness me. Ouch. Anyway, so the liquidity of that is always something to factor in. Another example of a little bit of inverted commas jewellery was this spade guinea that I bought ages ago. I bought it back on the Silver Forum again. It came with a hole already in it. I think a lot of people back in the day had these kind of things where they just had a old coin and they made a hole in it and they made it into a necklace. And that's exactly what I did. I had a cheap 9 karat gold chain that I had lying around from an old piece of jewellery that I had, and I got a little bail, that's what they're called here, put it on, and there we go, job done. Interesting story, I did have a 9 karat gold bail on it, but it broke whilst I was swimming, which was fantastic, and I didn't realise that it had broken until about 6 hours later, when suddenly I was just sat thinking, hang on, this doesn't feel right around my neck, and it wasn't there. And I actually went back to the swimming pool at 10 o'clock at night, just before they closed, and I walked up to the desk with a really odd one going, hey, does anyone handed in a coin? And lo and behold, it was sat there right on their desk. They were just looking at it thinking, what on earth is it, and how do they go about finding its owner? And of all things, I actually ended up showing them a YouTube video I did on it a while ago to prove that it was mine, and it was very funny. But the goodness of human society there. Somebody had actually found a big gold coin in a swimming pool. You know, this thing's worth good 450 quid, and handed it in, which is great. But anyway, liquidity wise, much better, for example, than the beautiful bracelet that we have there. You know, that is ultimately, you can just take this bail off and the chain away, and it's a coin. Yes, it's got a hole in, but it's gold content. It's easily identifiable in its gold content rather than pieces of jewellery. So whilst this is stunning, and it was a pretty cheap price all told, and I haven't even talked about the fact that it comes with all of these beautiful stones as well. Now, these are not precious stones in the sense that they're not valuable like diamonds and so on, and that's a whole topic for another time. In fact, when I mentioned them in my previous video, there were a lot of people talking about that and how the diamond industry is even more rigged and controlled than the gold and silver industry, and that's not wrong in any way, sense or form. And don't worry, I'm not going to go out and buy loads of gemstones, but the sheer beauty of these are fantastic. And for those that are interested in finding out what they are, that's what was in the little box that it came in. So in terms of the liquidity of these kind of things, I'm not worried about that. I have not got a huge amount of old school bits of jewellery in my collection, and I'm not going to tell a lie as well. This is actually going to form a milestone birthday present for Mrs. Backyard Bullion. I'm not going to tell you what milestone that is, but in due course this will find its way into Mrs. Backyard Bullion's jewellery drawer, and I hope she likes it. I think she will. It's kind of her style with all the different colours and everything, and yeah, a little nice gift for a milestone birthday. I don't often buy bits of jewellery for Mrs. Backyard Bullion. In fact, I haven't for like 10 years, but I figured it would be something that she might like, and also I could talk about it here on YouTube. And the really funny thing is that Mrs. Backyard Bullion, a big supporter of my channel and everything I do, but she doesn't watch all my videos, so I'm kind of hoping that she doesn't watch this one. I'm pretty sure she won't watch this one. She only really watches the ones I tell her to watch, so if she is going to watch this, I am very unlucky, but she'll like it nonetheless, I think. So there we go. Beautiful piece, and a huge shout out to Goldbeam over on the Silver Forum. So from my perspective, where do I foresee future acquisitions? If I had something come in that was like this necklace, and I could guarantee the amount of gold that was in it, and I could pay less than spot, even significantly less than spot like a dealer or a pawn shop would, then why wouldn't you want to buy it? It would be very lucrative potentially to do so, but that liquidity is really dangerous. And for me, where I will finish with a conclusion of the video, is my usual shout out to the humble sovereign. I had a big batch of sovereigns come in over the last week, and if you haven't seen some of the community posts we did and my newsletter email to the sales listings, then make sure, if you're not subscribed already, that you go ahead and subscribe to my newsletter and the channel here, because we do put notifications up. We sold £11,000 worth of gold in less than an hour for a person on our buyers club. It was very popular, all about 2% over spot price. There were a few 10th ounces which were a little bit higher than that, but only about a few percentage points, maybe 4 or 5% over spot total. And it just went within 45 minutes. I think it was about 45 minutes to an hour, all 11,000 gone. And I asked myself, could I do that? Well, of course I can, because I'm me, but if I was you, I'd ask yourself, can you do that? If you needed to, in a pinch, could you sell that much gold? If you had it all in old bits of jewellery and scrap bits of silver, or in premium bits of poured silver, I think you'd be a bit hard pushed to get the right prices for those items. So there we go, there's my thoughts on the subject. There we go, that's fixed. It's an old box, isn't it? But it's very beautiful. I do love this little bracelet. Let me know what's your favourite on the, I was going to say the table, but we're not on a table, we're on my little work mat that I have brought outside. What's your favourite of the gemstones here that's glinting away in the sun? I'm a bit partial to this red one here, which I think is the garnet from memory. It is rather elegant. It's just beautiful with that lovely red. It looks like a beautiful glass of red wine. Very, very nice indeed. I hope the camera's been focusing on these. I've been unable to check the focus in my viewfinder because of the ridiculously sunny weather out here today, so hopefully it's all okay. But anyway, that's it from me. Thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, then make sure to hit the like button on the way out and subscribe if you're not already done so. Thank you to the Cool Kids Club members for supporting our channel. You are super extra special cool. And to the Backyard Bullion Ramblers for listening to the back end of my videos. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed the ambience of the garden and the backyard well, I say the garden and the backyard. It's always nice to film outside in the sun. See you on the next video. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.